Welcome to another edition of Striker Chat. In today's episode, I've got a very special guest. Frankie D, all the way, originally from Perth, gym owner, Nak Muay, and Muay Thai entrepreneur. Frankie D, how are you, mate? Good to see
Thank you for bringing me on board, man.
Oh my goodness, mate. I've been watching you for a while. I've been seeing you just plastered all over social media. Obviously, because I follow a lot of Muay Thai gyms, and and I just kept seeing you popping up, and then I just reached out to you and went, "What's going on here?" And I've asked a few questions, and just, mate, we'll get there, but let's start from the beginning.
Cool.
Who are you, and where are you from?
Cool. So, long story short, originally from Iran, moved to Perth when I was 5 years old with my family.
What year was?
Oh shit! Like I'm 1982. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast? Yeah, all right, cool.
I'll cut it out.
There's no filter here.
Yeah.
Born 1982, moved to Australia in 1987. Had a very sheltered and gentle upbringing in my household. Lovely family. However, obviously difficult
Religious
being an
or?
immigrant. My parents are, but myself not. We had a very open-minded household. And we believed in God, but religion was never a factor. Moved around Perth a little bit as my family settled in. Made my way to the northern suburbs of Perth, around Joondalup, Whitfords, Callaroo area.
That is northern, mate. That's the north. That's South Geraldton, by the way. It's
and
north.
everyone knows you move to the north, you stay
in the north. Yeah.
Everyone from the north stays in the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So like from the age of 12 to when I moved to Melbourne a year ago, so to the age of 40, predominantly spent most of my life in that northern corridor. And a lot of my history comes from there.
And then the Muay Thai, how did that journey come about? You know, obviously you've been in the industry for a while. You've got your gym. Were you a fighter? Let's go back.
Let's go back all the way to day one.
Day one. How did you discover Muay Thai?
Yeah, cool. Look, my story I think is quite a common one, and I've shared this a few times where I was in a really dark place. So my life was quite simple to the age of 16.
Yeah.
And then a lot of trauma happened quite rapidly from the age of 16 to 18. I picked a very dark path, so the sweet little boy turned into a monster quite quickly.
Yeah.
Drugs, crime, and I've always said it, if I didn't find Muay Thai today, I'd have a needle in my arm, I'd be dead, or I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
So I was blessed that Muay Thai found me when I was in a really dark hole. Started training out of Riddler's gym. And
so you're a Riddler's boy?
I was one of the OG Riddlers.
Really?
Yeah, so this is going back to when Riddler was having his retiring fight. When I showed up to his gym, it was in, well, I think...
Sorry, Darren. Sorry, Daz.
Not as much as we'd like to imagine, but yeah, he still had that hair back then. But no, we started literally training in his garage. So I showed up that far back.
Yeah.
I think at that stage, Riddler had like 6 or 7 beginners in his normal class, and he had like 4 fighters. I would have been his 5th fighter.
Was Kaylee in the stable then?
No, Kaylee came afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm before Kaylee, I'm before Boom Boom. I was like
you OG, cuz.
Yeah, bro. Like
cuz you're OG, bro.
OG. You're OG. This is how far back.
As Spaniard would say, you're OG.
I'm not up with the new term slang, but yeah, man, this is how far as back as goes.
Yeah.
And I was blessed. Riddler showed me the ropes. He took me on board, really introduced me to the beauty of Muay Thai. And my life rapidly changed. Yeah. And within a few months, I started competing for him. Spent 2 years, just under 2 years competing for him. Would
that have been in pond shows and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, so Pond, Bunbury, Craigie. This is when MWP first came out. So MWP was like Kurovic, Blair, Riddler, Peter Boyd. There was a whole group of them. Bill Seth.
Bill Seth?
The original.
These are WA Muay Thai royalty. Right?
Yeah, pioneers.
Yeah, all those names, bro. All those names. Yeah. I digress here. I bang on about the lineages in Perth. So you've got your Ponmardi lineage.
Yep.
And then you've got your Jeff Devine lineage.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I don't know, but there probably people going, no, there's not. But
no, absolutely.
Obviously, you've got your Ponmardi. You know, you've got your Daniel Dawsons. You've got your,
even Riddler and all those guys
and all them
through
boys, and then your Jeff Devine. Your Blair Smith, your Darren Kurovic. So and then it's all branching off. So you can really attribute the Muay Thai, the way Muay Thai is in WA is from them 2 lineages.
100%.
I digress. Sorry about that, guys. You've probably heard that story many times. But yeah,
that's the first time I've actually thought of it that way. Because I always thought of the MWP guys. So Riddler, Kurovic, Bill Seth, Peter Boyd, all these guys were the guys that I came into the scene with. So when I first stepped in, I always considered myself second generation, but based on your logic, it'll be third generation.
Yeah.
And fought. And unfortunately, I hit about my 8th fight. I was meant to fight in Adelaide, and they wanted an MRI head scan, and I found out that I've got a brain condition where I've got too much fluid in my brain.
So have you fucking hell, Frankie?
So the actual doctors at that point go, you can't ever fight. So I got pulled out the sport, quickly sunk into depression again.
Oh no.
But then Riddler saved my ass again, goes, hey, I'm about to expand the gym. Why don't you come on board and be an assistant coach?
Is that when he moved out to...
The one across from the paddock.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. Where the actual Riddler's lineage and growth really took off.
Yeah.
So I was blessed. I spent probably I spent 2 years as a fighter for Riddler, another 6-7 years. We ended up being able to become his right-hand man, his assistant coach throughout the entire era of Kaylee, Boom Boom, Chris, all these guys that came
that's
up.
Like, yeah, I mean, but he's still he's still the strongest gym, mate, in the country. Very active. He's travelling
very active.
The most active. I think he's the most active gym in the country.
Man, in the 20 odd years, he's like been relentless. Like,
I mean, look, you go to his board where the fighters are coming up. It's like it's full.
Fight.
Always full. Always full. That board.
Always full. And it's been like that as far back as I remember. So during that time, I was really blessed because I got to be part of and learn people from a beginner status. Like I think when Kaylee came on board after me, she'd had one Muay Thai fight.
Yeah.
And then I was there part of the journey all the way through the ranks.
So, yeah.
Boom had already come on with experience, but I was there throughout all of his world champion defenses. You had like Kim Olsen, Chris White.
Yeah.
Like when we talk OG, as you want to say it, like the OG WA Muay Thai
Kim Olsen,
champions.
The Olsen
family.
Yeah.
Man, their parents fed them something different growing up. Right.
I
don't know what's in their milk.
I think it was the Belgian blood maybe. But they're tough and they're still tough.
Yeah.
They're still fit too.
Yeah, man.
Oh my lord.
They're like 40, 50-year-olds that you don't fuck with, kind of
No.
thing.
No,
not at all.
No. So fighting career, very short, unfortunately, because of the injury.
But I actually say it's fortunate because...
Really? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course,
because during that time, I was an accountant.
Yeah.
Like I'd studied accounting, business advisory, and I was an accountant. And the incredible part is, I think if I'd continued fighting, I probably, my body status, my athletic ability, etc., I would have been limited to what I'd achieve. I reckon I'd be able to hit an Australian title level, but never that world title.
Yeah.
So I probably would have exited the sport 25, 30 fights in and left and continued a different life. But because my fighting career ended early, to this day, I'm still hungry for the sport. Like, you know, when you meet fighters that get burnt out by the sport, for me, because my fighting career got cut short, I've always got this fire in my belly for it. Like to this day, I still get the buzz when I move into the back row.
I feel that though. Then like coaching, coaching is a wonderful thing as well. Teaching and everything like that. So and then you started coaching, but then you opened up a gym.
So the way it worked out was I was an accountant the whole time I was in Perth. Then I fucking hated accounting. I was going to blow my brains out doing tax accounts. So I packed up my bags, I moved to London. Now in London, I was an accountant, got into an argument with my boss out there, quit. The gym that I was training out of was called Diesel Gym London. So at that point, the owner, Cliff Burrow, goes, hey, I know you were a coach back at home. My coach has moved to Singapore. Can you help fill in for a little bit?
Yeah.
I was like, perfect timing. Before I knew it, my classes were full. I had my stable of fighters out there. I had a PT business running.
What year was this? Not the
12 years ago.
Oh, really?
So yeah, right.
So you know a bit of the UK system as well, yeah?
Very well, yeah. So I was out there for 2 years.
You know Christian Knowles, Lyndon Knowles?
Yeah. All those guys are really like, they're the...
Because they're London-based. The Knowles Academy is London-based.
Yes. London, it's incredible. When I went there, it was still very kickboxing influenced. So when I took Riddler's Thai style that he taught me into the UK, we dominated. So we had multiple national champions come up from my ranks, did really well in the UK. But it was in that moment that I went from full-time accountant, passion being Muay Thai, to full-time Muay Thai that I was like, fuck, I want my own gym. I would have never thought about it until I went to the UK. It's when I went to the UK and I just got slotted into this full-time role as Muay Thai coach and running it, that I was like, this is what I love to do.
Do you believe in fate?
This is absolutely 100%.
Do you believe in not fate, but I mean,
no, the universe.
The universe and the energies that you send out there, they always come back. Like if you send out fucking bad vibrations, that bad vibration will always.
Hey, you're talking
gravitate.
to a performance coach here. Yeah, for me, the mindset, the visualization, the energy that you embody is everything.
Ever since I've been on this journey, or this storytelling journey, this Muay Thai journey, whatever the journey you want to say, this life journey, the energy that I've been putting out, the people that I have met are fucking amazing. For prime example, you. But anyway, I fucking digress. But yeah,
we're going to digress a lot, guys. So if you're tuning in, try to keep up.
I believe in that as well. So mindset.
It's everything.
Mindset is everything, yeah?
And that's where my whole mindset shifted from working in a career to working for my passion.
Yeah.
Because when I was in the UK, I didn't give a shit about money. I was in holiday mode and I was just happy all day teaching. So came back to Perth, went back to Riddler's for a little bit, worked as an accountant for a little bit, and then ended up bringing the name Diesel Gym from London to Perth.
Yeah.
Because in Joondalup, northern suburbs, it was a big UK scene, so it just made marketing sales pitch. London's famous gym coming to Perth.
So it was, that gym was like a franchise thing, or did
we
you
just shared the name? We just shared the name. So it made sense to build an international name. It sounded good for marketing and purpose. At that point, I'd already opened up a bookkeeping business, so I used the bookkeeping business to fund the gym. Then that's when I started getting involved in understanding and learning a lot of marketing, a lot of sales, a lot of approaches. And again, to digress for a lot of the business owners watching this, I was an accountant and a business advisor. I knew business inside out. I had a lineage of 10 years under Riddler. Opened up my own Muay Thai gym and I went, fuck, I don't know how to run a business. Like I had to then massively level up as well.
Yeah.
And that's when I threw myself into marketing agencies, learning from business coaches, which all shat the bed as well, because you know, you had marketing agencies that were running photos of 45-year-old women in karate gis for my fucking Muay Thai gym. I had business coaches telling me, you need to cancel your fighters and put like a boxer size class on. And I was like, no one understood the Muay Thai combat sports model.
Yeah. So, wow. So you were inventing, like I said, you're an entrepreneur. You seen there was a hole in the market.
Yeah.
And then you went, oh, let's fucking do that. But you have to stick by your guns. Because you're going to have your fucking dejectors, aren't you? You're going to have your people that are going to say, nah, what are you doing, bro? Yeah. That's not what, nah, you're shit, that's it, nah.
I had it from both sides. I had the Muay Thai guys telling me that I'm a sellout. And then I had the business owners going the Muay Thai model shit. And I kept looking at it all. It was like, there's got to be a way to make this work. And myself, and there was a few other people in the scene, like Pamon Mahdi. I know there's some people in Queensland.
Pamon's a very good businessman, right?
Really, like,
so good.
We all came out with our own unique models that we got. And what a lot of people don't realize, and I know Pamon and all the other guys that reach the top status is, we invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into business coaches, agencies to learn and then use what we learned from their models and plug it in and create our own. Like a lot of people look at the growth, and it's funny because when I speak to first-time owners or when they've got 50 to 100 members and I tell them the cost of marketing, the cost of coaching, and they get blown away, I'm like, dude, like I spent 20x that just to figure out what the hell to do. And that's where my Diesel Gym journey took. And I threw myself in. I literally put every penny I had, everything into learning how to grow marketing in a gym and then apply it to the combat sports model. And we were blessed. I had an incredible team. I was running ads when Facebook was doing well. We grew to 750 members in 5 years. We became one of the largest gyms in WA in such a short period of time. But then, Yeah, the rise and fall of Diesel, I think, is a whole chapter.
A whole chapter in itself. But I just want to ask one more question. Did you have any fighters out of that gym?
Yeah, absolutely. We had multiple state champions. So Grant Jones was twice WBC champion. Nathan Eden was a WBC state champion. Yep. For me, again, the mistake that I made, and this is something I advise. So with the rise and fall of Diesel, one of the most important parts of what I teach business owners is not only how to grow, but from all of my mistakes as well. And one of the number one mistakes I made was I grew too big and I had to give up the coaching role. So 3-4 years in, I brought in Carl Puglia, who now owns Sway Muay Thai.
Carl, so mate, these names, I love these.
Everyone from WA Muay Thai.
Sway Muay Thai.
He's built an incredible gym as well. But I plugged him in because I was like, I can't coach the fighters anymore. I don't have the capability. I don't have the capacity to be able to give in to the fights. And that was the beginning of the end. That was when I shifted again from my passion into my ego.
Oh no.
And started getting big in the business and throwing everything into the business. And I always say, Diesel, Jim, and myself, you've heard the Greek mythology, Icarus?
Yeah.
So, you know, the gods gave him wings. They go, be careful how high you fly. And he didn't listen. He flew to the sun. His wings burnt off. He came crashing down.
So what's the key there? Just be patient? But you still got to build that.
No, you've got to build, but there's a certain...
What's the middle here?
You got to understand, there's a certain model that works with combat sports gyms. Once you go past that model, you're no longer passionate about coaching, you're a business owner. And one thing I tell everyone is if you want big business, there's easier businesses than Muay Thai. So you should only own a Muay Thai gym if you fucking love coaching fighters, being at a fight show every second weekend, and transforming people's lives on pads. If you want big business, and I know hands down, the biggest Muay Thai businesses in Australia all are fed up with the business of Muay Thai. Because once you reach that big status, staffing is a nightmare. Management is a nightmare. Expenses are through the roof. The profit margin isn't as good as what. Like me at 300 members, the business was earning more than what it was at 700 members. One thing I tell, and my story is really transparent. I share the rise and fall of Diesel to everyone and all my clients on the very first call. Okay, this is what I did right. If you want to grow the 200 to 300 member model, with a high membership fee, you're still part of your coaching team, you love what you do, this model works. If you want to go 300-400 members plus,
you got to be a businessman.
You got to be it. And you got to be ruthless in business. The guys that have succeeded 400 members plus, they're ruthless with their numbers.
Of course. A bit of a sociopath there, wasn't it?
Man, for me, I just couldn't do it.
Most CEOs are sociopaths.
I always say, I'm the worst accountant, even though I was an accountant. Because for me, growth was important, team was important, culture was important, and I never gave a shit about the expenses. And then when things started going wrong, the expenses blew out, the profit margin got shat on, and that's where it all went wrong.
Fucking hell, man. So, Mate, so then what? So we're not going to talk about what happened to Diesel?
Oh no, I'm open to everything, man. But I think that's a story that I've shared quite a fair few times. In a short snapshot, and this is why I don't recommend people go too big, is we expanded from a small location to a medium location, and we were fucking killing it. We went from a medium location to a large location, expecting the trajectory to go up.
It didn't.
And everything that could go wrong in a space of a year fucking went wrong. We hit 30 grand monthly losses when we moved to the new location. I bled my house, everything I had to save it, got it back to a profit, and then fucking COVID hit.
Oh no, and that fucking
And then that was like with that 3 years in between COVID and also the failures at the beginning, I reached a point where I had a mental breakdown. One of the main reasons I've gotten into studying my master's in counseling the past 2 years, doing performance coaching, doing mindset coaching, and realistic business coaching for these guys, is hands down at that level, your mental health is fucked. Like I really had, at the peak of what looked like success, I was at the point, I wouldn't ever say I was suicidal, but I didn't want to live. I didn't want to end it.
Yeah.
But I looked at my life and I went, I don't want this. And when it all burnt down around me, I was relieved. And that's where the next chapter really kicks in.
Everything has to, you have to hit rock bottom to fucking to travel back up again.
I always say, like, as a business coach, I'm the fighter that got knocked the fuck out that tells you to keep your guard up.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of my coaching is in place as well.
Yeah, so Diesel, gone, Diesel Gym. That's another story in itself. So we'll get that. But now what you're doing now is an amazing thing. Yeah, I see you help a lot of gyms with business mentoring. Would you say? Or So let's unpack that and how did that start and why'd you start that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, funnily enough, that started as a project helping Dawson out initially.
Daniel?
Yeah. So he was part of NRT initially as a manager. Got on board with their investors, helped their clubs grow, and realized we had a really good product that I could scale out.
Yeah.
And then while Diesel was happening, we were doing some consulting in the background. And we were also partnered with a software agency company at that point, Zipleads, who was helping us manage our ads, manage our promos. Really good Australian-based company that really produced awesome results for us. So when Diesel went under, called up Matt and to cancel Zipleads because I'm like, look, Diesel shut down. I don't need Zipleads anymore. And remember when we talked fate and energy and the universe?
Yes.
Matt was like, hey, do you want to jump on board and help us out with some sales until you figure out what you want to do?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's see what it goes like. Next thing I knew, same as what happened in London, happened here. The coaching program took off. We were pumping through a lot of sales, doing really well. And the Zipleads plus our kids and teens plus my mentorship model worked really well for the combat sports guys. So I've always said it, Muay Thai saved me, and I've been blessed the past 22 years to actually be able to help everyone through Muay Thai as well. It's huge. It's such an important part.
I think so as well.
And I started as a fighter, then I became a coach, and I became a business owner. And what I learned most of all is as a leader, if you are just running on pure grit, which a lot of fighters and coaches and business owners do, then everything falls apart.
Yeah.
And right now, my real passion is helping these combat sports gym owners because I truly believe the impact we make into everyone's life in the community.
Yeah.
But a lot of these gym owners like mine, we're just running on fumes, struggling, and then they're not making the profit. They're struggling with their families. They're having to work full-time jobs. They're trying to give everything. So be able to plug in a profitable business model, which keeps their passion alive. That's the way I can help them help other people.
Yeah.
And it's such a strong passion of mine now that knock on wood, we've had a lot of success. We've had over 80 combat sports gyms now. Yeah. Each of them grow by over 100 members a year, which if you look at that and with numbers, it's like 200 grand revenue increase while they can still keep the passion for the sport alive. They learn from all the things I did right. They learn from all the things I did wrong.
Of course, we learn from mistakes.
You know, at the end of the day, this is Muay Thai. We don't have a perfect record like boxers.
Yeah.
We tell people it's the hardest fights that makes us.
Yep.
Business is exactly the same. And then on the back of that, I've been studying my master's in counseling for the past 2 years. So now I also do performance and mindset coaching for the fighters and the owners as well. Because ultimately, the most important thing that you need to keep healthy in your business is your own mental health. Yeah. And that is where I've seen the most impact with these guys.
With the mental health side of it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because for myself, there was a direct correlation between my mental health and the success of Diesel, my mental health and the failure of Diesel. Okay. And the same thing happens when you're in competitive fighting, when you're in anything in life as a high achiever. If you're going and pushing the levels all the way up, I always say this, it's like you get any coach and you go, look, I'm going to give you an Australian top level fighter. Yeah. But you spend back-to-back fight camps, no rest, no recovery, peaking the whole time, fights every 3 weeks, you don't rest with injuries, you don't have a taper, you don't have a... What happens to that fighter?
Just
burnt out completely.
Bang, bristle, bang, breaks.
But the business owners were like, man, I can do 14-hour days for 10 years straight, and they wonder why everything collapses around them. Yeah. Like for me, 80, 90-hour work weeks was just the norm. Like I was like, but this is what hard workers do. Yeah. David Goggins told me to wake up early. I need to fucking wait. Like that model is right for 90% of the way you operate. But there needs to be a proportion in there where you're actually taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because the better you show up, the better you provide to everyone else around you as well.
It's so true. I mean, like, if you've got nothing inside you to give, if you're not working on yourself, whether it be through meditation, whether it be through fitness, whether it be through anything, you have to give back to yourself. I used to think that working on myself was fucking selfish, but it's not. It's not. I come to a point where you have to fucking work on yourself, because if you want to give love and you've got no love in you, you're just gonna fucking, you're gonna have a mental breakdown. So,
the cliche of your cup has to be full in order to be able to pour from it is an absolute correct cliche, because it's 100% true. Like, one of the things I tell the fighters is there's 4 elements to our sport. Physical, tactical is knowing the sport, skill set, and mindset. On fight night, how these first 3 perform is based on your mindset. If you're 10% in your mindset, your performance is 10%. If you're 100% in your mindset, you're doing 100% of your capability.
Mindset is
Same thing happens for the business owners. If you're showing up from a state of being cooked out, your coping mechanisms the night before just to get to sleep, all the shit that happens with the mental health, you're not going to make the best decisions in the business. You're not going to treat your team the best. You're not going to have the best availability and capabilities as a leader. And then what happens over time? Your business struggles, you struggle, and it's this vicious loop. And it's what happened to me. With everything that happened in the last 3 years of Diesel, by the end of it, I was cooked. Like, I was cooked. Like, everyone would see Diesel Gym and go, wow, it's such a big gym. Internally, I was destroyed. I went through 2 divorces. I had mental breakdown. I lost everything I'd ever built into that place. And it all came down to the fact that I wasn't taking care of myself mentally.
Fucking yes.
And that story, I think if everyone can sit for a moment and take a deep breath and look at their own life, you can truly feel how that resonates with all your ups and downs in lives.
Oh, right. I hear you,
us looking at our own mental health, us looking at the struggles that we go through, gets seen as such a weak part of our life, when truly, if you're brave enough to look at where you're struggling and you're courageous enough to actually put the things in place to get better, the amount of people you can help really magnifies. And that's where I'm so happy and content with where I am today, because I feel like I bring so much more of a balanced approach to coaching than what I did before.
And now you come from Perth to Melbourne. Was that a business decision to come to Melbourne?
No, look.
Or was it a lifestyle decision? Because I lived in Melbourne. I love Melbourne. Great coffees, good cafes.
No, beautiful. Look, Perth is home. It always has been.
Yeah, it's my home too.
In one element, everything I had was online, so it gave me the opportunity to travel. My business, my studies, my career, everything is online. Secondly and truly, Perth had too many endings for me. When I looked back in Perth in the northern suburb, like my mum passing away, my upbringing, Diesel Gym, my divorces, everything was in that northern corridor. Between Whitfords and Joondalup, everything that I loved and everything that ruined me was in that place.
Try Fremantle, try South, mate. No.
Yeah, everyone tells me I can't drive in the South. I don't know what it is with you guys in the South driving.
Let's talk about mindset coaching. How does that? What's involved with that? How's that involved? And I'm interested.
Man, this is my passion project. So, as we all know, fighters don't make us money. It's part of the business model that doesn't make us money. But I've always had such a hunger to coach fighters, and I've been doing it for the past 20 years of my life. But there's one defining factor that when you reach the top level is the difference between a champion and who comes second. And that 100% is mindset. And that applies to business, to life, to combat sports, to whatever we turn around and do. So spending the past few years studying my master's in counseling, always have a passion for performance psychology, brought around the product of the fighter's mindset. So now I do one-on-one coaching with fighters, developing that competition and world champion mindset. And that goes into everything like tackling their self-limiting beliefs, the visualization practice into it, their reasons, their why, And it falls directly the same as business, because you've got to keep that hunger alive, and that hunger is never external, it has to be built internal. And like we said earlier, your physical, your tactical, your skill. And we've seen it all the time in the gym. You can have someone that's great in the gym and shits the bed when they get into the ring. You can have someone very average in the gym, but they're on point when they're in the ring. Mindset is everything.
Yeah, mindset.
And it was incredible. Like, I even heard Nugget the other day talking on Joe Cumberford's show.
You can't build heart. You can't. We actually can, to a degree. If you can build mental strength, that's what carries your body. Your heart, yes, it's your heart, and they say it's about love and that, but your heart is in your body to pump blood around it. It's your mind that you have to control, and your mind that you have to be the master of to get victories or to get success in life. If you can build your mind, and I think a big thing is discipline. I think even as I get older, if I say, I'm going to go for a walk in the morning, and then I don't, I've actually lied to myself. So I've weakened myself. So you got to look at life like, if you say you're going to do something, your mind, even if you're sick, get out of bed.
Look, some fighters are just naturally tough, some aren't, but the concept of heart all comes from the mind. You can absolutely develop that discipline, that motivation, because just because a fighter isn't tough doesn't mean they can't be a champion. It just means their mindset has to adapt to suit their personality. And this is what I love to be able to do now. So I've worked with a number of fighters already, and we're growing that department.
Any famous fighters? You can't tell us? Or?
No, absolutely. So look, currently on a state title level, Buddy Hanlon from Third Eye Muay Thai. He had a very average performance on his first state title defense, or first state title attempt for the WBC state title. He had a lot of personal stuff going on, which really affected his drive for the actual competition. Started working with me on his mindset, and reached a point a week before the fight where he goes, I don't even care about the win or loss anymore. I feel so amazing of myself that I've become the person that deserves to win that championship.
So is it important to not put weight on your performance?
100%.
But you know what I mean, but put
Absolutely.
weight on your performance. Like, if I achieve this, I'm going to get this.
So there's a difference between performance and achieving external goals. You should 100% put weight on your performance.
Okay.
So showing up and being the best version of yourself.
Yes.
Showing up and being able to perform at your best level. However, the result of that performance has so many different variables that are out of your control. And I was speaking to Riddler about this, and it is my mission to make sure the fighters I work with are better when they leave this sport than when they first started. And so many people leave this sport broken because they don't get the accomplishments they think matter to success. And this drives back to myself. When I had the most members, the biggest business, the house, the car, whatever I wanted, I felt the worst about myself.
Really?
Because if you're constantly going to achieve that external goal always moves
forward. It does, doesn't it?
And so this is what a lot of people don't realise.
But then how do you shift that? What's the shift there?
Look, the cliche, you got to find your why. What's the reason you're doing this?
Fucking your purpose?
And that's 100%.
Your Northern Star?
The purpose is internal.
The purpose is internal. So, for example, my Northern Star, my purpose, I'm a storyteller. So when I get doubts on myself, when people go, Boondi, you're 55 years old, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you chasing your fucking dreams? What are you doing this for? I get doubts. It's human nature to doubt yourself when someone is doubting you, especially from a loved one. Okay, fuck, what? I'm a fucking storyteller. And I continue on with that.
Why do you love to tell people's story?
Why? Because I love origin stories. I love hearing where people come from and what makes them fucking tick. And how did they get there? You know, everyone's different in their life. You know, everyone's had adversities. For example, you've had adversities, but I see you as successful. So I'm interested, I know that you've had adversities, and I want to hear about your adversities, how you got through them, and why you are who you are. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to unfold. And I think Everyone has that fucking story,
Yep.
especially in this sport.
Yep, absolutely.
And I want to unpack a lot of these stories, a lot of people. So watch this space.
And that's such an important part. Being driven with your passion, being driven for your why, has to be so fucking powerful that the external doesn't matter. You know, Buddy Hanlon said it the best way. He goes, you need to become the person that deserves to win the title, not become the person after you win the title. And it's such a powerful quote to be able to put into place.
Fucking nice.
You have to be the person to get to that space. Finding your why, finding your reason, and predominantly with these fighters, creating the best version of yourself. Muay Thai saved our lives, but there's so many people that I've seen that leave this sport broken more than the way they started.
But is it because they put their identity as a fucking Muay Thai fighter, or is it
they put their identity as someone who needs to win? And that's the problem, the external validation. And this is the number one factor, not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but whenever you look externally, you're going to be let down. And I always say this as well, you got to zoom out, because if you look at your success line, straight up. If you zoom into that success line, it's a whole bunch of failures and successes. The important part is you keep showing up. And when you show up, if every success gets your ego inflated and every loss drops it, eventually it breaks you.
Showing up, being consistent. Where I am now, I've been consistent. Obviously, I've been overweight, I've overcome drugs, I've had so many other adversities, but the one thing is I work on my fitness, I work on my mind, I would do meditation, all that sort of stuff, and I'm being consistent. And I've been consistent every fucking day. No matter what, rain, hail or shine, I will do those little discipline things all the time.
Which is the most powerful element. You show up consistently, everything works
It's
out.
like, I think, who said it? I don't know who said this, like, every day you're adding a pebble, 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 then all of a sudden, fuck, you got this mountain.
Yes.
And you've got that foundation. And there's another story as well, like, you know the bamboo story? The bamboo?
No.
So you've got to, see, a bamboo shoot, you've got to water it, like it takes 4 years to water from a seed. And you've got to water it, water it, water it, water it, water it, and then it doesn't shoot up, and then all of a sudden, it just goes.
Cool.
And that's where, probably where I'm at now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just building that foundation, and now I'm just going for it. You know,
and that's where a lot of the fighters are at as well, because you know, to go on to that, a lot of these fighters don't realize that showing up consistently, chipping away, it's a long-term game. And this is the way you reframe the mindset. What do you learn the most from? Your losses. So if you're turning around and it's destroying you every time you lose, you know, one of the things I teach the fighters is change your mindset to training. Show up to fucking lose to training. Don't show up to feel good throwing the handful of sparring techniques you do, going the run that makes you feel good. Like, if you show up every single fucking day with the aim to lose because you're practicing your weaknesses, show up to training to lose in order to show up to the ring and fight and win.
Oh, wow, that's
such a powerful difference.
That's empowering, bro. That is fucking powerful, man.
And that's the mindset shift, because one of the things, and I can guarantee 99% of the people that are watching this, one thing they don't realize is they're the 1%. So they're the 1% of the population that's showing up and competing professionally in a Muay Thai ring while living the rest of their life. Like, for most people out there, our warm-up is their lifetime goal. And this is what a lot of the guys don't realize, but because they surround themselves with the 1% at the gym, what ends up happening is they constantly compare themselves to the best, they consistently compare themselves to their losses, they consistently look at their weaknesses. Whereas if you reframe that, the cliche, the journey, not the destination.
I love that saying.
Because it's so important. The journey to win your first state title, what happens when you reach that state title? Then all of a sudden you're like, that title doesn't mean shit, Australian title. You speak to anyone that's a first timer, a state title is a dream. You speak to anyone who's an Australian title and ask them where their state title belt is. It's like somewhere gathering dust. Like, do you understand that difference?
So being in the moment.
100%.
Be in the fucking moment.
And realize every single day you're showing up, you're creating the best version of yourself. That is such a powerful element. Then they show up to training, and there's a concept: thoughts, feelings, actions, results. If you think you're being shit and you're not good enough, you feel like shit, your performance is shit, then your results are shit, and your brain goes, hey, check it out, I told you you're shit. But if you show up every day and go, I'm here to create the best version, I feel fucking amazing for just showing up. You're on a high, you feel great about yourself, then you perform better. Then over time, your results show that. It's that compounding effect. But a lot of people get stuck in the gutter and they don't know how to pull themselves out.
Fucking hell, man.
And that is, I think, a whole nother podcast in itself.
I think, mate, I'll be back in Melbourne. I think we'll do another podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, what a conversation, bro.
Incredible.
It was. I really got inspired by you, and you know what?
Glad.
But that inspiration, I think maybe we should do a business venture together.
Yeah.
I'd like you. I mean, I'm going to pick your brains about business. I'm going to pick your brains about mentorship. I'm going to pick your brains about
as you know, I love
mindset.
to talk.
I know you love to talk. But I'm sure that you'll be back on the podcast again. I'm sure that this is not the first time or the last time you'll see this man. Frankie D, thank you very much for your knowledge. Thank you very much for your wisdom. Thank you very much for your love.
Thank you, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. Thank you. Woo, 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 woo. Wow.